Good morning, friends and foes. Welcome to Back of the Cereal Box. I am John Pyka, the prophet of pop culture. You can call me Johnny. And this morning, we've got a very special guest returning to the virtual rec room, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Permison. And we are going to talk about the 30th anniversary of the X-Men animated series, and we are going to do that right after this.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss, Johnny Carson and Mickey Mouse. The first star was James Dean. Elvis Presley, yeah, he's still the king. Some things are only imitatable. You can't beat an original. Oh, you can't beat an original.
And we are back. This is Back of the Cereal Box. We are a pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturday mornings of our youth while surviving adulthood today. And for me, Saturday mornings meant breakfast cereal, cartoons, comic books, kaiju, kung fu movies, and in between the cartoons and the kaiju and the comics, we didn't have smartphones or tablets at the breakfast table on Saturday mornings or any morning. So in between the things we loved, we were reading the back of the cereal box. That was our world. That was our newspaper. And that's what this show is all about. Now, before I forget, we have to thank our friends, the Murdering Crows. They did that awesome theme song, Can't Beat an Original. And you can get their album, Four Bad Crows, at Amazon, Google, Apple Music, wherever you find music. And of course, we have to thank our cereal boxer super friends, our supporters, Sharice Collins, Cindy Kep, Brian Huff, Dave Manginelli, Dave Mattingly, Crystal Raven Jones, and Eli Cash. And you too can have your name in lights just by contributing at buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. And to help you with that, I'm going to run that along the bottom of the screen. So if at any time you say, wow, that was really good, I should support that. Well, there you go. There you go. And without further ado, let's welcome in our co-host this week. This is a little bit of a different episode. So those of you who are watching live on Saturday morning right now, you can comment, you can be in the chat, but you're going to notice that we are not responding to it because we're actually pre-recorded. Shh. Experimenting with that. And so to join me, a very special co-host making his return to the virtual rec room, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Permison. Good morning, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, good sir. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here. Good to see you. Good to be here in what is known as the virtual rec room. I dressed appropriately for this occasion, brother. Yeah. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's turn it up to 11. Let's go to the extreme with the X-Men. Yeah.
Well, we will definitely do that. But before we do that, we've got a new segment that we've introduced this past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Will it cereal?
Great question.
And in this segment, Johnny tries something as cereal that normally would not be eaten as cereal in a bowl with milk. So I've got my Grogu bowl with the handle. I've got the spoon. I've got the milk. And last week we did Ritz peanut butter crackers. Mm-hmm. This week, I think this is going to be an easy verdict because I've got Oreo minis. I suspect that Oreo minis are going to cereal really well. This is just my suspicion. I have no scientific evidence to base this off of, but I've put the minis in the bowl, and they are just mini Oreos, bite size. And I got my milk, and we're gonna see if mini Oreos will cereal. What do you think, Ryan? Do you think it's gonna be a winner?
Yeah, actually, I do. I think it is going to be a winner. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, by themselves, they're delicious.
Who can
And
say no to
Oreos,
Oreos?
I know nobody can say no to Oreos, and they're fantastic to dip in milk.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta assume that as a cereal, they're going to be equally fantastic. All right, I think I've got them properly saturated. Let's see. Ryan, everyone watching,
Yeah, did it work?
this is amazing.
It is. Okay.
Mhm.
Now we know what to do next time when we go to the supermarket.
This is amazing. I wonder if the actual cereal, the Oreo O's that they made, I wonder if it's as good. Now I got to do a side-by-side comparison, don't I?
Probably. For future reference, you might want to write this one down.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to write that down on a Post-it note.
I don't need to eat anymore, but I want to eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because, oh, you know what? There are 3 servings in a bag.
Oh.
40 calories per serving. So I'm gonna back away from the Oreos. But out of 5 bowls of cereal on a will it cereal scale, Oreo minis is a 5.5.
Wow. Okay.
This is I gotta resist it. Gotta resist it. I know. Now, Brian, I really struggled with this because I thought Ryan's going to be on the show Saturday morning. I need to honor Ryan and do some Honey Nut Cheerios. And that will be next.
Okay.
The next time you are on, I'm
Sure.
going to have a big bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios.
Wonderful. They're great.
So, you know what I realized that we forgot to do? I dove right into that new segment without even talking about you, Ryan. Tell our friends and family who you are, what you do, what your pop culture passion is, and just do the elevator pitch.
Yeah, elevator pitch. So here it goes. Hopefully this will be some good practice for myself when I move forward with my life and my career. Non-existent career. My name is Ryan. Good to see you all. I'm a podcast host and producer. I do a show every week. It's called And I Quote, Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST. I interview content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from many and all corners. The Nerd Universe, we have friendly conversations. We promote their projects. That's what I do as far as podcasting goes. I also co-host another show called Comic Books, The New Class with Crayley, who's one half of Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, a wonderful person, by the way, a fabulous person, which is also part of the Back of the Cereal Box Network. There you go. Plug. Everything fits together. Yeah. So it's the best of the best. So I do that. We do that once a month. We also do mini-sodes. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, Comic Books The New Class. Also in my link tree, which are linked to my Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. You can find out where all my other projects are there. And I also host a couple of other things on my channel called It's Nerd Culture, where I just nerd out about whatever it may be, whether it's movies, TV, comics, etc., etc. I guess my pop culture passions are reading comics, learning from them as best I can, because I only started reading comics 5 years ago. Fun fact. And watching as many movies as I possibly can, and binge watching a couple of TV shows on the sidelines as much as I can, because I enjoy that stuff. I've been a fan of that stuff since I was yay high. So if the wheel's not broken, why fix it? So there you go. That's a little bit about me. I'm happy to be here, and hopefully you'll check out my content, and you'll like, comment, share, subscribe, and do all that stuff. Because I truly believe in my heart of hearts that you're going to like the way you look after watching or listening to episodes of And I Quote, hosted by yours truly, I guarantee it.
That's fantastic. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clear as a bell.
I got a message that popped up that said the browser has lost connection to your mic.
I can still hear you and see you, so you're coming in loud and clear.
Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Gotta love technology.
You know, technology to me is a lot like magic.
Okay.
You know, as a magician, that's probably odd for someone to say, but Yeah,
It works.
it's
Sometimes
kind
it
of
doesn't.
magical. Now, Ryan, part of our mission here at Back of the Cereal Box, celebrating the Saturday of our youth, is
Yes.
to tell the story. And sometimes a story is as simple as, you guys aren't going to believe what I found. And that brings us to our next segment. This is Rapid Fire New Loot. Because when I was a kid, cereal boxes had toys and prizes in them. Sometimes comic books, sometimes figures, sometimes games. And we had to reach into the box and, rummage around for the prize. Or in my case, I just dumped the entire box out in a big giant bowl. But this morning, I'm going to reach into my box and pull out this prize. This is a brand new Mego Green Lantern figure.
Green Arrow, actually.
What did I say?
You said Green Lantern. There's too many greens.
That's a lie.
It's Green Arrow.
It is
Oliver
Green
Queen.
Arrow. And Ryan, this was my favorite figure when I was a kid.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
the original Mego was my favorite. And it is, in my opinion, the superior Mego. And when I saw this at a comic book shop in Somerset, Kentucky, shout out to Lemon Juice's Comic Cavalcade in Somerset, Kentucky, I had to have it. I literally did, and I got it. But you know what? Collectors, prepare your hearts.
He's opening the box. He is breaking the seal.
Yes, I am. Because I believe that collectibles should be enjoyed while you're still alive. Oh my gosh. You guys, okay.
Look at that.
This is beautiful.
Looks good.
It is fantastic.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
Look at that hair. Oh my gosh.
This, I believe, Ryan, is the original Mego sculpt.
Oh.
I don't think they changed anything from the original from the 70s. But full ball joint articulation and everything's cloth costume, and
you can move all the parts.
Oh yeah, everything is phenomenal.
So it's customizable. You can stand him up, have him sitting down.
Yeah, and the costume actually comes off, so if you want to do his island days,
his shirtless version of Oliver Queen.
And the original Mego it came with a quiver on his back, but it never came with a bow.
Really? That's odd.
And this one comes with the bow.
Oh, look at that bow.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
That looks really good.
I wish the arrows came out. I'll have to work on putting this in his hand, but
sure.
Mego, Green Lantern, or Green Arrow.
Man, you keep mixing up the greens here.
Yeah, I don't know why. Because I also got Green Lantern a couple of weeks ago at Meijer. But this is like, here's my thing, Ryan. So I don't know if you heard, but last weekend we had to clean out my late father-in-law's apartment. And he was a collector of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Just not like valuable stuff, just stuff. Newspapers, magazines, pictures. And, a lot of it was not worth anything. But he died without a will. And we had 48 hours to go through everything and decide what we could keep, what we could take with us. And the majority, we took what was important, but the majority of it got hauled off to the dump. So the perspective that it gave me was, if you're a collector, if you love comics and if you love toys, enjoy them now while you can, because at the end of the day, it's just going to end up in somebody's garbage.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. I've gotten to the point where I'm okay buying certain collectibles that come in a box, 'cause especially if it's the newer stuff that's on the market, which there's tons of that. Let's not kid ourselves.
yeah,
But I prefer to get most of my collectibles as loose figures, not so much in a box, because then they're loose and then I can just play with them whenever I want. So
that's
it's
right.
easier that way.
That's
And
right.
then I just keep them in what are known as bags, Ziploc
Yeah,
bags, or the
yeah.
bags that they came in when you get them from the toys when you get them from the collectible store, because there's millions of those things around the world, and there's dozens of them here in Maryland, where I am. I'm in Maryland on the East Coast. So anytime I go and I buy them in a bag, I'm like, okay, just keep them in the bag they came, then just seal them up, because then you can just put them in a storage container and play with them whenever.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
easy. It's easy that way. That's why I do with all my Power Ranger collectibles.
And do you have a lot of Power Ranger collectibles?
Yeah, a lot of them are in bags though. There are a lot of used, past figures, used figure, whatever. But yes, I do have a lot of Power Ranger collectibles. Some of them are in boxes, and especially the Megazords. Those are in boxes. They have to be. They have to be in boxes. But anything else, not so much the bigger stuff, but the smaller stuff. The action figures are what do you call it? Some of the motorbikes, like the Thunder Bike and the Triceratops bike that came out in 1993. Those are still in the box, because that's what they came in when I bought them through other retailers online, not so much in a physical store.
So Ryan, before
That's
I
just me.
forget, our new loot is sponsored by Entertainment Earth.
Oh yeah,
You can get all the cool stuff there, and you
Everything.
can click the link in our show notes, in our description, and it costs you nothing to click our affiliate link, but it helps us out tremendously. And if you want to get Amigo Green
yeah.
Arrow, you can get it at Entertainment Earth.
That's a big website.
Yes, it
They
is.
got millions of things.
And speaking of Entertainment Earth and Power Rangers,
I've been there.
I gotta ask, have you been to Entertainment Earth?
I mean, not a physical, but the website. Yes,
Oh,
I've
okay.
looked for all kinds of stuff on the website, and they have tons of stuff for anything that fits your desire.
Do you know who started Entertainment Earth, by the way? The founder?
Was it Chaim Saban? Was it Bandai? No. Who was
No, Mark Hamill.
what am I trying to say here? The Joker or Luke Skywalker himself? No kidding.
Yeah. He started Entertainment Earth.
I did not know that.
And back in the day, in the early, like the mid 90s, it was just an affiliate click site that had, cool stuff to link to. But it was Mark Hamill. And so people were going there, and
2 thumbs up there, Mark.
he ended up selling it. So, and now it's a mega retail giant.
It's got everything.
Yeah, they really do. But so speaking of Power Rangers, you know that last week was Godzilla's birthday.
Godzilla.
Are you a Godzilla fan?
To a point, yes. I mean, I'm not a mega fan because I haven't seen all 68,000 films that have been made featuring that character and his little friends known as King Ghidorah, and who's the other one? Mothra and Mechagodzilla, et cetera, et cetera. I've only seen the more recent films, starting with 2014's Godzilla, that led into Kong Skull Island, that led into Godzilla King of Monsters, and then that led to Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. So that's okay.
I've seen them. I've seen those movies. And then I did see, growing up as a 90s kid, I did see the Matthew Broderick 98 Godzilla.
Okay. It's not really Godzilla, but...
No one counts it as canon at all. I mean, people throw that thing under a bus. But listen, I was a kid in the 90s, so I liked it for what it was.
Well, 2004, there was Godzilla Final Wars.
I've heard of that one. I've heard of that.
I just watched it for the first time ever. I had never seen it before.
Was it any good?
It was phenomenal.
It was?
It was so much fun.
Should I add it to the list?
I think you should, especially if you're a Power Rangers fan, because they have the Earth Defense Force, which are like kung
teenagers
fu ninjas.
With attitude, maybe.
Yeah, they're mutant ninjas.
Okay,
and
I'm gonna have to look this up then. You've convinced me.
Yeah, kind of Power Rangers light. And the Godzilla versus Power Rangers miniseries.
Oh, that's right. I still have issue number 1. I haven't read yet.
It was so good.
Sitting on my shelf right over here.
And well, I'll be reviewing that very soon when the trade paperback comes into my possession.
I need to get that trade.
Yeah, you do, because you would love it.
Gurgela.
But speaking of trades and
Mhm.
comics,
Oh yes.
I need to share this one with you and everybody else.
Mhm.
Back issue Breakfast Club right here with Ryan Permison and Johnny. This is a complete departure from our previous
Format.
format.
Yeah.
But I picked up
Ooh.
the Saturday Morning Adventures G.I. Joe, a
That's a
real
good-looking
American
cover.
hero. It really is.
It's a good-looking cover.
And it is by Eric
Mhm.
Burnham, Dan Schoening, and Luis Antonio Delgado. It's just fun to say, Delgado. And this book has an art style that looks like it came right out of the Saturday morning cartoon.
Yes, it does.
By the way, the Saturday morning series was produced by anyone know? Anyone? Marvel Studios.
Of all people.
Yeah, Marvel did G.I. Joe and the Transformers, and
Transformers.
they did Gem and the Holograms, and they did Meatball and Spaghetti, and they did Pandemonium. But this book reads like the Saturday morning cartoon.
It's a nice looking artwork.
It is.
I like it.
And for those of you who were buying the floppies and reading the individual issues, I'm going to tell you, I did that. But when I sat down and read the trade paperback all in one sitting, it read much, much better.
Mm.
It read like the Saturday morning cartoon.
They've been doing that for a lot of properties lately because Brian Robin on Comic Book Spectrum, he reviewed the first issue or so of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. And it's good too. I'm going to wait until the trade comes out. I did read the first issue, but because of my experience with this and my experience with Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, it was so good as a standalone one sitting story.
I love trades. I do. I love trade paperbacks. I love them.
You know, I never thought I would be a guy who says I'll wait for the trade.
I always say that though.
I know. I used to always scold people and tell them, well, if you just wait for the trades and you don't buy the individual issues, you'll never get the trades. But now there are some titles that read better in one sitting. And this is one of them.
Ooh.
If you were a big fan of the Saturday morning cartoon series, you are going to love this. They even did, Ryan, I don't know if you remember because you're too young to remember, but they used to have at the end of every episode these moral lessons.
Oh, PSAs, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the more you know.
Oh, yeah.
And they include those in the comic. So
That's even
here's
better.
here's a more you know.
The more you know.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it.
And knowing is half the
Half the
battle.
battle. It is. Knowing
Yeah.
is half the battle. That's right. Yeah.
You know what I love about this too is that Cobra Commander finds. I'm just going to spoil the story a little bit. Cobra Commander finds the lamp of Aladdin.
Ooh.
And he summons the genie.
Oh my goodness.
To serve him. But, you know, as it is with Cobra Commander, he's a little bit short-sighted. I mean, you think about this. Cobra has unlimited resources. And yet, they still can't win.
It's because good always triumphs over evil in most stories. I don't know.
I guess, but you would think that they would win at least one time.
The Cobras have a big presence at Comic Cons wherever I go. There's always the G.I. Joe chapter of that town that's there dressed up as Cobras or Cobra Commanders. And they're cool too. They're cool people. And they're cool. And they're good looking cosplays. I'm not going to lie. As someone who didn't grow up during that time period, because this is a little before my time, I still like the costumes. They're cool. I like Cobra Commander. I like his look. Because you don't know what he looks like at all. He's just running the show, calling the shots, saying, we're going to do X, Y, Z. We're going to destroy the G.I. Joes. Whatever. However the voice goes. I don't know how the voice goes. But I like that. I like that you don't know what he looks like, how he got his power, whatever. Like he just does. He just does what he does, and I like that. Just move forward. Just do your thing. And the fun side note, though, I have to ask this though, in relation to GI Joe, and I know people will throw these under the bus, and I know why, and that's fine. But I like them for what they are. What did you think of the prequel film Snake Eyes? Did you ever see the Snake Eyes movie? Oh,
I
okay.
did.
All right.
I did.
Hot garbage for you. That's fine.
Well, no. I don't call anything hot garbage.
I liked it though.
It was okay. It wasn't a bad movie. It
No.
wasn't a Snake Eyes movie. It was a Storm Shadow movie.
Yeah.
It was a much better Storm Shadow origin movie because the character of Snake Eyes was not the character. Look, nothing made sense to me in that movie. How is it that Snake Eyes is a bad guy the entire time, and at the very end has a change of heart, and he's welcomed with open arms into the family, into GI Joe?
Yeah.
But Storm Shadow, who was the good guy the entire time, and he made one bad decision. He's shunned, ostracized, and it starts him down a path of criminal intent.
Working for Cobra. Yeah.
What? How does that work?
That's just their twist on the story.
It bugged me.
It's called creative liberties, people. It's been going on for decades.
I guess.
I don't know.
So anyway,
sorry, didn't mean to spoil the mood here for GI Joe fans, but that looks really good. The Saturday Morning Cartoons trade paperback, I should say.
highly recommend it, and you can pick that up from our other sponsor, TFAW, Things from Another World. They specialize in comics and comic collectibles, just like Entertainment Earth specializes in toys and collectibles. TFAW is your source for the printed books. And you can click the link in the show notes down below and get your own copy of the Saturday Morning Adventures G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero.
We'll just stick with that.
So, Ryan, I asked you to be here specifically for this. This week,
yes,
is the 30th anniversary of the debut of the 1990s animated classic X-Men. Da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum, da-ba-da-dum. So I gotta ask, X-Men animated series, is it really the greatest Saturday morning cartoon theme song ever made?
Ooh, great question. It might be. I mean, it might be. I don't know. Like, if you did a top 10 list, it would certainly be in the top 3 for me, if not the top 5. But yeah, no, it might be because it's the catchiest. It's very recognizable. I mean, there's 7 billion people on God's green earth. I think 99.9% of them would know what piece of music specifically that is. I mean, granted, I was at the tender age of 5 when this debuted in 1992. I was itty bitty little young, and I was watching the show. I didn't even know it debuted in 92. I was under the assumption it debuted in 93, the same exact year the Power Rangers debuted. But the fact is, there was a giant billboard in Hollywood, California that said, #1 show today, which is X-Men, #1 tomorrow is Power Rangers, because they were advertising about the arrival of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on the Fox Kids television network at the time. And when I look at that billboard, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. And who can say no to those two? I mean, granted, one's animated, the other's live action, but at the same time, it was pure awesomeness to be in the 90s watching these shows respectively on Saturday mornings or during the week when you came home and jumped off that bus after school like I did. Trust me, I did. I remember having the Toy Biz action figures. I remember having them. I remember the commercials for these. And here's a fun fact for you, Johnny. I have this here for you. This is a visual prop. I mean, I knew I probably should have done this before, but this is the VHS tape, the Holy Grail, Dr. Jones. This is Night of the Sentinels, the 2-part opener for the original series from 1992. This is the VHS tape. Look at that. Look at this. You got all the characters. You got all the synopsis. I mean, that cover alone is like a poster I would post on my wall. It's called Night of the Sentinels, debuted in 92. X-Men 92 debuted on October 31st, 1992, aka Halloween night. Halloween. This show debuted on a Halloween holiday or whatever. And this cover is great. This VHS tape is great. I got this from a friend of the family's house. He had a bunch of these in his room, and I said, "Hey, you mind if I borrow this?" And he said, "Sure." I never gave it back to him, okay? Because it's X-Men. Why would you want to give something like that back? You don't do that. You keep it. So I got it. It's here. This is the tape. I'm not kidding you. Here's the tape. I kid you not. It's right here. Clear as day. Still works. It's clear as a bell, by the way. The tracking is still pretty good.
Have you priced that?
No, I haven't.
I'm thinking that has got to be very valuable.
Maybe? I don't know. Someone's
Yeah.
gonna have to let me know in the comments of this pre-recording. You have to let me know. I'm curious.
Because
this is my baby right here. This is one of the many. I have 2 or 3 of these. Not just. I mean, I have other episodes, not just this one. But I have like 2 or 3 VHS tapes of X-Men. But this is my most prized one, of course, because this is the very beginning. This is the origin story right here.
Well, VHS tapes are actually going for big money.
Are they?
Yeah, I've never understood that. Do you really?
I got plenty of VHS tapes, not just X-Men. I got X-Men tapes. I got Power Ranger tapes. I got what's another one that was popular back in the day? I got WCW NWO Superstar Series VHS tapes. I got WWE, which were formerly known as WWF. WWE VHS tapes. I have WCW pay-per-views VHS tapes from Warner Brothers that were originally distributed by Warner Brothers because it was on TNT. So yeah, I got tons of VHS tapes. I still use them. They're great. Well, they're wonderful.
Now,
they're great. I have no shame. I have no shame.
Hey, and nor should you.
No, I mean, I'm watching this tape right now. This week, I'm watching this one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The hottest hits of WCW Monday Night Show called WCW Mayhem. Look at that.
Wow.
Right there, baby. Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yes, I kid you not.
That's
what I'm watching this week when I sit down to eat dinner. This is what I'm watching on my VCR.
That's unbelievably cool.
I love it.
I love listen, the Monday Night Wars.
They were some fun times, man.
With the NWO for life. Too sweet, baby. Yeah.
That's right.
Loved it. But we're here talking X-Men.
X-Men. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
Now, before the 1992 animated series.
Yes.
Do you know what predated that show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they released it on YouTube. Someone posted on YouTube years and years ago. Pride of the X-Men, I think it was.
Yes.
Was it Pride of the X-Men? Pride of the X-Men, something like that.
Now, well, I actually have this on VHS myself.
Oh my gosh.
And it is called X-Men, Pride of the X-Men.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's all about how Kitty Pryde basically saves the day from Magneto. And it was a strange lineup because this is the classic lineup with Wolverine and Colossus. Cyclops, Storm, and Nightcrawler. But Dazzler.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that Bedazzler or Dazzler?
Yeah, it is Dazzler, Allison Blair.
What
but
she
was
there?
Never a part of this particular team. She was a member of the team in the late 80s when Mark Silvestri was doing the art. Sure. And they went through the Siege Perilous, and it was a different team. And anyway, Psylocke and Dazzler and Longshot and a bunch of others. But that was before this, but she was never a part of this assemblage. So Pride of the X-Men, it was a TV pilot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a movie that was intended to be a pilot for an animated series. And they had appeared prior to that on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends on 2 episodes. What was it? It was The Origin of Firestar. And there was another one. Someone is going to comment on it because there's someone watching going, "Oh, I know this. I know
the
this.
answer to this question.
I know the answer." Isn't that how it always is? When you're watching or listening to a podcast.
Maybe Dave Mattingly knows.
I'm sure he does, and I'm sure he's commenting right now.
It's this. Yeah. But
yeah.
I watched reruns of that, by the way. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I remember that.
I love that show.
I'm sorry, I got the theme song in my head now. There's so many theme songs to these shows. That's the thing. Once you think of one show, you start to think of two more, and after that, you just think of them all.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right. And
They're
here
iconic,
they are iconic.
respectively.
And I'm trying to find the title of that episode.
It's killing
And
you. It's
it
biting.
is
It's
it is
biting
driving
away.
me.
It's eating away at you. That's what it's doing here in
It
this studio.
really is. It really is.
Hmm.
Um,
I wonder, does anyone cosplay as Firestar at conventions? I'm curious.
I've never seen one. And you know what's really funny is as popular as she was on the cartoon series.
Mhm.
Oh, it's called the X-Men Adventure.
No.
And so you had the X-Men Adventure, and then you had the origin of Firestar.
There you go.
They were two different episodes. Let me see if I can bring those up. So
It's interesting.
yeah. So I've got a bunch of the artwork here. It all popped up. So and I gotta tell you, you know, when I was watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and again, this was a team that really never existed because Kitty Pryde never wore that awful costume.
Yeah, that doesn't look like something Kitty Pryde would wear.
And she was never on the team with Thunderbird.
Oh, that's who that was, Thunderbird. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of who that other character was because I've seen him before. He appears in the X-Men animated series that I grew up watching. I just couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, Thunderbird, and he died in one of the original missions, the first missions. Yeah.
Wow,
And
look at that. These are some great images here. Look at this. This must be bringing back some memories for certain people who may be watching or listening to this show.
yeah, and you know what's really kind of cool is that when we move into the 90s with the X-Men animated series, I just want you to kind of get a comparison. This is Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, then Pride of the X-Men.
Look at that.
And then we get the X-Men animated series.
Wow. Look at the evolution there.
Yeah, there is an evolution of the animation style, but at the same time, it still maintains the original feel and texture
of the property. Yeah.
Yeah. And
great.
These costumes, by the way, Ryan, do you know what they're all based off of?
I mean, I'm assuming they're based off certain eras or portions of the comics, are they?
Yeah, it's based off of the Jim Lee era of the comic series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Lee did all of these redesigns on the costumes.
They look great.
That was one of the last million unit sellers.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
I don't think there's been a comic that has sold over 1 million copies since. Maybe Death of Superman, but I can't remember if it was before or after.
Well, Death of Superman was, I believe, in '96.
Yeah. So that was after.
Was it Dan Jurgens? Am I thinking of that right? Yeah, Dan Jurgens. Okay, because I remember my brother had the blood-soaked. What was it? The plastic.
Yeah, Roger Stern was the writer, and Dan Jurgens was the artist.
There you go.
But anyway, we don't have million seller comics anymore. The highest selling comic since was Spider-Man 700. And with Doc Ock becoming the superior Spider-Man, and it sold 800,000.
Oof.
So, but the average comic book, Ryan, I don't know if you knew this, only sells between 5 and 15,000 copies. 5,000, 1,500, or 15,000. A bestseller today is between 50 and 80,000.
Boy, have the markets and the times have changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drastically, I would say.
Now, so here's my question for you, though, Ryan. These images have got to bring back some memories, and you've gone back and you've rewatched. Of course, we got to meet
some of it. Yeah.
We got to meet Bishop, who is, in my opinion, one of the most overrated X-Men ever.
Wow.
But you've rewatched a bunch of them. What is your favorite moment from the X-Men animated series? What stands out the most as a memory for you?
Oh my gosh. You're putting me on the spot here. I mean, Night of the Sentinels is the first thing that jumps out to me because I remember watching that at home as a kid and just thinking, okay, because this is my introduction to what is known as the Marvel Universe. It was a combination of this and the X-Men animated series from 1994. Once again, that was on Fox Kids as well. I would say my favorite memory is either Night of the Sentinels or just the early episodes, the really early episodes that set up the story. I think as it got further in, some of the things that didn't click with me. For example, what was it called? The Savage Land, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that. Not a fan of the dinosaurs walking around. Not a guy wearing a cloth for what do you call it? Underwear. I'm not a fan of that. That just didn't ring true for me. But when they got to Mr. Sinister and his creepy crawler goons, yeah, Sinister is a great antagonist. I think Magneto's Magneto. There's nothing more to say. He was great, but Mr. Sinister, that was a dark guy. He was messed up. He had very twisted plans for mutant kind, and it entranced me. It enthralled me, whatever you want to call it. But it's unfortunate that we never got to see him in. And I know some people don't like these movies, and that's fine. I would have liked to have seen Mr. Sinister in live action. I would have liked to have seen that. We never got it, but I will say, I like and you go back and you watch this show, you realize how dark it was, and you realize that maybe this wasn't necessarily for kids, because a lot of this stuff is some dark stuff, man. Like Batman the Animated Series, it got dark. So X-Men got dark. I mean, look at Mr. Sinister and the plans that he had for humankind. That's dark. Some of the things that Apocalypse was doing in the Age of Apocalypse storyline, or what was it called? The Days of Future Past storyline. That is some dark, twisted stuff.
Well, that was kind of the hallmark of the 90s.
Of the comics.
Well, yeah. But of the 90s Marvel animated series.
They got dark.
They all dealt with very real world adult themes.
It was great though. I'm not throwing it under a bus. I'm just saying that for me, looking back on it now, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should have been watching certain pieces of this show. But then again, it was a lot of fun. It was great. I had the action figures as a kid. I remember playing the video games. I remember the Tiger handheld electronic video game in the palm of my hand with those itty bitty little fingers. I mean, let's face it, we all had Tiger electronic games, all right, guys? We've all had them. I had my fair share of X-Men, Power Rangers, Disney, whatever. But yeah, my favorite memories, though, Johnny, I got to be honest, it was probably either Night of the Sentinels or just buying the VHS tapes as a kid. Or my parents were buying them for me from BJ's. BJ's. Everyone remember BJ's? The wholesale club? Yeah.
No, we didn't have BJ's.
Oh, dude, we had them. We either had that or maybe my parents got them from Toys R Us or Circuit City, whatever it was. I don't know.
Oh, my God, Circuit City. There's
Circuit
a
City, the Circuit State of the Art. You remember those commercials with the giant plug plugs into the ground? See what I mean?
Oh my gosh!
I know we're going way back, guys. We're going way back.
That's what this show is all about. That's what this show is all about.
I love it.
Reliving those great memories, the nostalgia of our youth, and X-Men is a big part of so many of our
first 6 or 7 episodes are probably my favorite memories because those were the early episodes. And I remember getting the VHS tapes, whether it's Deadly Reunions, Slave Island, The Unstoppable Juggernaut. Juggernaut was a messed up character too. He had his dark moments. Juggernaut being related to Professor Xavier, that is some messed up stuff.
Yep. And he's basically demon possessed by the demon. Was he? How do you pronounce it? Chitarak or Chitorak.
I didn't know he was possessed by a demon. I thought Juggernaut was just the way he was because he's a mutant that way.
No, his powers come from and in
I did not know that.
Doctor Strange, in the Doctor Strange movie, Doctor Strange calls upon the bands of Chitorak
really
to subdue someone.
No kidding.
Yeah. Google it. You'll be fascinated.
I have to Google this. I'm gonna have to read some of these comics featuring the Juggernaut. Maybe I'll learn a few things.
It's a deep dive. It's a Yeti hole. Now, one of my favorite things with the Juggernaut is when Kane Marco was no longer the Juggernaut and Colossus became the Juggernaut. That was pretty cool. What
did you say your name was again? I am Colossus from Russia.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. That's a line from the show. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. It happens.
Now, I'm going to say something controversial.
Sorry.
many people believe that this X-Men animated series
Mhm.
is the one of the best animated series ever.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I can see where people would put it in their top 10. Um,
It's in
but
my top 5.
and everyone says it is the best X-Men animated series, but I disagree. I think X-Men Evolution was superior in every way, shape, and form.
Hot take. It's a hot take, but I respect it because I like X-Men Evolution too. I like that too. And you can stream all this stuff now. You can stream all of it on Disney Plus. It's great.
That's right. That's
You can
right.
go back and watch all this.
Absolutely. So,
Which I might have to do with X-Men Evolution. It's been a hot minute since I've watched X-Men Evolution.
well, and the sequel series, Wolverine and the X-Men.
That's another thing I haven't seen yet. I got to get on that too because people rave about it.
Yeah, that was a short-lived series.
Yeah, it got the short end of the straw. I heard.
Yeah, well, it was at the tail end of the Saturday morning
Era, so to speak.
culture. Yeah, era. Yeah.
Okay.
It was when everything was going to. It was before streaming, but everything was moving to Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and
Toon
Disney
Disney.
Channel
Yeah.
and Boomerang and
Oh, that's right. Boomerang was a big one.
yeah, Cartoon Network, and so everything was moving to those networks and focusing on original content, and then along came streaming, and
Now look at us.
bye Saturday mornings.
Yeah. The bright side is you can still stream all of it.
Yep, and you can still relive the magic of Saturday mornings just in a different format.
Yeah.
Now it's no longer must-see TV. Because Ryan, I mean, you're old enough to remember this.
I was there. Yeah.
But you had to make choices about what to watch on Saturday morning.
Keep flipping the dial.
Yeah, because sometimes your
Changing the
two
channel.
favorite shows were on different channels at the same time.
That's
You
what
had to
killed me.
choose. You had to choose between, X-Men and
Or the Animaniacs.
yeah, or Power Rangers or Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah. Or
yeah.
Superman the Animated Series from Kids WB.
Yeah, or Batman versus Ninja Turtles, because they would be on it. They would be on different channels and sometimes at the same time. And Saturday morning cartoons, I say,
They were
taught
priceless.
my generation important time management skills and taught us how to prioritize.
Commitment. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you missed it,
You missed
it.
And then the kids at school be like, "Hey, did you see the episode last night, or this morning, or yesterday, or last weekend?" They're like, "No, I didn't. I missed it. I was at a ball game or whatever."
And then you had to wait for it to maybe be rerun, or the Holy Grail was for it to be released on video.
And then you would go to your local library and check out all the VHS tapes, like I did when I was a kid. Does anyone remember Shining Time Station? I do. Yeah, Mr. Conductor telling us stories of Thomas the Tank Engine and his little friends. Here's a throwback for you if I've ever heard one.
Isn't that funny that George Carlin, one of the most vulgar comedians to ever step foot on the stage, was the host of one of the most beloved children's programs of all time?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah, he was Mr. Conductor at one point, and then Ringo Starr came in and took over.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ringo came in. Look it up. It's on YouTube.
I just remember George Carlin.
I think he was there for like the first few episodes, and then they left it. They passed the torch on to Ringo.
Interesting. I'll have to look that up.
Hey, listen, the holiday season's right around the corner. They did every TV show did this, right? Holiday specials. Remember those? Well, Shining Time Station has one of the greatest of all time. It's called "'Tis a Gift" Holiday Special from Shining Time Station, which you can find over there on our good friends at YouTube.com. # not a sponsor, but it's a great holiday special. And Johnny, I think you and your lovely family would enjoy it. I truly believe that they will. We are in the beginnings of the holiday season.
Yeah, it is. So
'tis better to give than receive.
I'm doing a search here, and
oh, it's on there.
Yeah. So,
isn't it amazing how many TV shows are streaming on YouTube nowadays? It's amazing.
It really is.
More and more are getting posted. It seems like every other month.
Yeah, it is pretty cool
Hmm.
that we can see pretty much anything we want to see when we want to see it.
Which I've noticed.
Okay, so he did play the conductor, but he was also the narrator.
Ah, got it. Okay. So he pulled double duty at one point, and then Ringo Starr. I think Ringo Starr did that for him.
That could be.
And
Huh.
there you go. See, fun facts we learn on this educational program known as the Back of the Cereal Box.
The more you know,
Exactly.
and knowing
Is
half the battle.
It is. It's great. I love it. And who doesn't love X-Men? Seriously, X-Men is a great series. It's a great analogy for certain things that are going on in the world. So it is worth teaching in classes. It's worth watching at home. It's worth watching on the road when you're on a flight. Seriously, I love X-Men as a whole. I love the animated series. I like most of the movies are good, not all of them. But X-Men has had a big impact on my life. So I got a lot to owe to the X-Men. Not just the animated series, but for the live action movies that came out during the early 2000s as well.
What was your favorite live action film?
Concerning the X-Men,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it has to be X-Men Days of Future Past. I love that movie. Love it.
Really?
Love that movie. It is the best X-Men live action movie we've ever gotten, ever going to get, period. Because it had two different eras, two different generations of X-Men piled into one movie. And the way that they were able to seamlessly connect two different generations of X-Men fans is amazing. And it's a feat within itself. It is a masterpiece of a film. Whether you're watching the theatrical cut or the Rogue cut, both cuts of the film were brilliant. Brilliant. And yes, I have them on Blu-ray. It's a true story.
See, I liked First Class the best.
That's a great one too. That's a great origin story. It's a
'Cause
great
it
origin
has
story
Kevin
for Xavier
Bacon.
and Magneto. It's great.
Kevin Bacon is the bad guy. You cannot go wrong.
Sebastian Shaw, leader of the Hellfire Club, which, by the way, I didn't know who the heck, excuse my language, the Hellfire Club was until I saw First Class. And then I realized how much history they've had in the comic book run. And then I've read some of the X-Men comics in these last couple of years that I've been reading comics, Johnny. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. I see how much of an impact that the Hellfire Club has had on the X-Men.
Yep.
They took no prisoners. They take no prisoners in the Hellfire Club. Ooh, some creepy stuff that they pull.
And then Jean Grey became a member.
Dude, when I read that, I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? They manipulated this woman? You're kidding me. It's crazy. One of my favorite X-Men storylines is X-Men God Loves, Man Kills.
Yeah.
That's a great storyline too.
Which became the basis of...
For X2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
So, big event is coming up at the first of the year for X-Men called the Sinister War.
Ooh.
Mr. Sinister decides he's not playing by the rules of the Krakoa government anymore.
Really?
And he's returning to his villainous roots.
Ooh.
Just saying.
I might have to...
might be right up your alley.
You might have to look into that. I'm going to have to read that.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, guess what? We have filled an hour talking about the nonsense from our youth.
Yeah. At least we kept it 90% focused on X-Men, though. I was pretty good about steering us back on the track.
Well, you know, that's always our main topic, but you know, there's other stuff.
Sidetracked. It happens all the time. No matter what, you can bring up a piece of new loot that can springboard an idea or spring a memory in the back of your mind or something to that effect. I mean, who would have thunk? Because you thought I was just going to show up here with this good-looking T-shirt, which, by the way, it's a great-looking T-shirt, and I wouldn't have any visual aids. I do have a visual aid, and it's right here.
I love it.
I love this cover. I love this tape. It still works almost like a charm, by the way. So if you have X-Men VHS tapes, let us know in the comments. Let us know your favorite memories, favorite things about the property, because I am fascinated by anything and everything X-Men, and I look forward to reading more X-Men trade paperbacks or omnibuses, depending on how you look at it, because some stories are really that big. Throughout my future life of reading comic books, because I've only been started reading comic books within the last 5 years. It's been a great journey thus far.
That's awesome. I love it. So tell people how they can follow, find, and support you.
Excellent. See what I did? Excellent. So here's the deal. You can follow me. Exactly. Thank you. So my name is Ryan. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Excuse me. Wow, my words are twisted. And make sure you're following our YouTube channel at It's Nerd Culture. New videos are on our channel each and every week. And I quote is on Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST. Interview content creators of all shapes and sizes. Got more and more episodes piled on for the rest of this year and into 2023. Movie anniversary watch-alongs are going to be shown on our YouTube channel at It's Nerd Culture. So make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that notification bell. Use your adamantium claws and claw at that bell so you get notified of when our new videos go live. They go up. And in the meantime, check out your favorite X-Men properties, because X-Men has been around for many, many decades, and there's so much to learn from these characters. And the writers and the artists that put them together deserve our utmost respect, and we wish them all the best with everything moving forward. And stay excellent. That's all I'm going to say.
Ryan, do you know that I'm going to break your heart? Do you know that X-Men were not always as popular as they are today? There was a time when at issue 96, they were canceled.
Wow.
They were done.
Okay.
Readership has dropped. Nobody cared about the X-Men. But then Giant Size X-Men #1 reintroduced the world to the team, and the rest is history.
I've seen that cover. It's a good looking cover.
Yeah, that's what introduced these characters. Colossus and Storm and Nightcrawler and Thunderbird. They were part of that first team that went off to rescue Iceman and Cyclops and the others who were captured and held captive on Krakoa, which is their current home, which is kind of weird, but everything comes full circle. So anyway, cool stuff. Well, for those of you watching, you can follow and find me at my website, johnpyka.com, for live shows, my books, my podcasts, all of the fun stuff that we love. Today is right there. And if you like Back at the Cereal Box, if you like our show, contribute at buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. Right there. It's been running along the bottom edge the entire show. But, you can buy us a bowl or two of cereal. You can buy us a whole box of cereal and support our show so that we can go higher, faster, further. And if you hate our show, contribute even more generously. And that helps us improve just for you.
Wow.
And everybody watching, continue to comment, like, share and hit the notification bell, subscribe on the platform you're watching. And until the next time, tell 200-300 of your closest friends and family to come share the fun. And we love you, mean it. We'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. Bye.